In the year 633, Penda, who is the king of here, Mercia, the Saxon kingdom in the middle of England, he teams up with the Welshman, with Cadwallon. Cadwallon is the king of Gwynedd and very warlike. They combine their armies and they go up to the largest and the most powerful kingdoms of England, to Northumbria. They kill the king, they defeat the army, and for about a year and a half, they rampage, they ransack Northumbria. And in that hell, Chad is born. Chad, the hero of this story, is born at that time. And it seems that his mum and dad probably lost their lives in the killing of that war. When peace comes through Oswald. Now Oswald gave his name to Oswestry, Oswald's tree. Oswald comes and he defeats King Penda and Cadwallon, and he becomes king. Now he is a Christian king because he has discovered God on the island of Iona up in Scotland. But he's a Christian king of a pagan land. So he writes to the monks on Iona and he says, please send a missionary. And they send Aidan, the Irishman. Now Aidan adopts Chad and his brothers. Chad would have been about 2 years old. So Aidan was the only father that Chad knew. And Aidan and his brothers adore Chad. For Chad, those years with Aidan on Lindisfarne, an inspiration for the whole of his life. Let me tell you one story. The king has given Aidan a horse. It's a horse from the royal stable, a magnificent horse. Aidan gallops away on it, delighted. But that night, as Chad is fishing off the causeway, he sees Aidan return without the horse, walking, plunging through the mud as you have to get onto the holy island of Lindisfarne at the ebb of the tide. Chad runs to him. Father, is everything all right? Where's your horse? What happened? Oh, the horse, says Aidan and laughs. I had to give him away. Do you know, my son, it was a mistake. I should never have accepted that gift from the king. I knew as soon as I went riding on him that people see you differently when you're on a horse. They see you as someone in a position of privilege. And Chad, my son, remember, you can never proclaim the gospel of Christ from a position of privilege. When he's 12 years old, Chad makes the decision he wants to follow in the footsteps of Aidan, his father figure. He wants to be a monk. So he begins his training as a novice, a kind of apprentice monk. It would have lasted about 8 years until Chad, maybe age around 20, was ready to commit himself for life as a monk. And at that time, Aidan sends him to Ireland as a peregrinati, a wanderer for the love of God, which is what Aidan would have done himself in his youth. From those days, a monk could go from monastery to monastery in Ireland, sit at the feet of the greatest and the most inspiring teachers, experience the warmth and the joy of community living in various places. But there would have been times when Chad, in the way of the Irish tradition, would have gone off seeking solitude, just to be by himself, living simply close to the earth, listening for creation's heartbeat and exploring the depths of silent prayer. Aidan spends perhaps 8 years, 10 years in Ireland, and then he returns to England, to Northumberland. So he's about 30 now. Aidan has died in 651, shortly after Chad would have gone to Ireland. But people see in Chad the image of Aidan. You couldn't spend long with Chad without wanting to smile, without feeling the world was a better place. He had the kind of holiness that you could almost warm your hands on. Chad is asked to be a novice master, training young people who want to become monks. He's inspiring, he's popular, but he's yet to meet Wilfred, who is, in my opinion, the real villain of the piece.